Hi everybody, I'm Hirschlag, and when I'm particularly stressed and anxious, I like to bake. Today I thought that I would introduce you to a relatively easy bread making recipe. I've never baked bread, traditional bread myself, so I thought it'd be great for all of us to learn together, you know? You only need 4 ingredients, and it's likely that you have these ingredients already. So let's get going. I'm gonna start with our flour. You're supposed to fluff up the flour first with like a fork or like fluff it with your hand, and then sweep it across with a knife, or I'm gonna use my finger because I'm gangster. Now we're gonna be adding our active dry yeast, or instant active dry yeast if you get to the stores before everyone else in the world does. 2 teaspoons of coarse salt. We're just gonna stir these together. You can also whisk them together. I would be whisking them together, but I can't find my whisk right now. There's the whisk right now. It's honestly better to whisk because then you get, you know, everything really nicely incorporated. So this particular recipe says that I'm supposed to use cool water or like 70-degree water, but I'm actually gonna go for closer to warm water because I don't have instant yeast. So it's gonna take longer for my yeast to rise. But if I had warm water, it will activate the yeast faster. It is exactly 99.8 degrees. I'm gonna start mixing this with like a wooden spoon, but eventually I'm gonna get my hands in there because that's the best way to know that you're incorporating all of the flour. Seriously, when the world sucks, there's nothing like getting your hands in dough and just being like, damn it, dough! Your dough will be really sticky. That's good. So what you want to do as best you can with this really sticky dough is form a bit of a ball at the bottom of this bowl. So once you have your sort of ball, you're going to want to cover it and leave it out so that it can rise for the next 2 to 3 or 4 hours. And you can do that by covering it with saran wrap, any kind of plastic wrap if that sticks to your bowl and it really gives a nice cover. Or since we don't have the greatest saran wrap, I'm going to be using tin foil to create my lid. Once you've got that, you literally just let it go, walk away for a good 2 hours, and again, if you didn't use instant, 3 to 4 hours. It should be about doubled in size, which for us looks like this, and you should be able to see a bunch of air bubbles kind of coming up to the top. That means that the yeast is doing its job. It is time to put the dough into the refrigerator. Ideally, you want it to chill for 12 hours, but it really can chill for a week. Basically, all that's happening then is the yeast is fermenting and the bread is getting a really nice, delicious, deep flavor. So your dough might have sunk a little bit from when you put it in the refrigerator, but it should still look pretty aerated. That's just what happens. Things condense when air is cold, but that also helps preserve the flavor, so all good. I have prepared a cookie sheet with a smattering of flour and cornmeal. You don't need to use cornmeal, but I've been told that it gives the bottom like a nice solid base that's flavorful, so that's why I did that. Before you handle the dough, which is gonna be super wet and sticky, you're gonna wanna get your hands nice and floury. You can never use too much flour when handling this dough because you wanna sort of like seal in all the moisture, but you don't want the outside to be sticky at all. You should try to keep the flour to the outside of the dough, not let it get too much inside because that can like mess with the consistency of the inside, so I'm not doing that. Move it around, get some flour on there. As you turn it, you're supposed to like fold the dough underneath it until you form like a really nice round surface. Don't be afraid of flour. Looks pretty cute, right? You're gonna cover them with a washcloth or a hand towel or paper towels. If that's all you have, that's fine too. And just let it go for 45 minutes. And in that time, you're gonna set your oven to 475 degrees. And with about 10 minutes left, you're gonna put 3 cups of boiling water on your stovetop. Now comes the scary part. I am going to slice the top in 3 places. You should do this so it's about a 1/2 inch deep. You can do really any pattern you like. Some people do a tic-tac-toe, some people just do like one big one. This is what I've decided to do. And this baby's ready to go in the oven. In we go, my little friend. Apparently, in order to make this piece of bread nice and crispy on top, you're supposed to put boiling water underneath in this catch pan. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then you gotta close the oven really quickly in order to make sure the steam doesn't escape. Whoa! Careful! And now you have to wait for 25 minutes. It is time. It has gotten large. The bread itself looks pretty good, I think. I don't know. Maybe a little too much flour around the base, but it looks like bread, right? Right? Hey, it looks like bread! Woohoo! Not gonna lie, it's a little dense. See, it's a little doughy in here. It does spring back, but it's definitely doughy. It has a nice outside crust. That was a good thing. Tastes really good. Well, that was my first attempt at baking some artisanal bread. Maybe we'll do this again with something else that's a little less scary or more scary. I don't know. Happy quarantine.